Section 2 is the endocrine system, and this is going to be very, very short and sweet. So these are the different endocrine glands. So, for example, the pituitary gland is here, and that's really a master gland for most of the other glands in the body. So this will secrete hormones that will affect other endocrine glands. So, for example, it'll secrete a hormone that will affect, I don't know, your thyroid gland, for example, and it'll say how much thyroid hormone to release, and then your thyroid will release its hormone, and that will affect parts of your body. The hypothalamus is very closely related to the pituitary. In fact, they are connected by various neurons, and some of the endocrine glands, some of the pituitary hormones are actually released by the hypothalamus, well, made in the hypothalamus and released by endings, cell endings in the pituitary gland. Here's the pineal gland, and that controls circadian rhythms, so 24-hour sleep-wake cycles. That's why you feel sleepy at night and hopefully rested in the morning. Your thyroid gland is this gland, and that's responsible for metabolism. So you may have heard of someone with hypothyroidism or hyperthyroidism. Hypo means you're releasing too little, and hyper means you're releasing too much. So this controls metabolism. So if you're releasing too much of the hormone, then you feel way too much energy and kind of stressed all the time, and you lose a lot of weight. And if you have the other problem, hypothyroidism, you'll tend to feel sluggish, gain weight, feel tired all the time. These things are the parathyroid glands, and they're really behind the thyroid, and they have control over various things like calcium metabolism in your body. The thymus gland has to do with immune hormones, so it helps to stimulate some immune functions. Let's see, here's the adrenal glands, and one of the things that there's two different parts of it. There's the external part, the cortex, and then there's the adrenal medulla. So if you cut into it, you would see the adrenal medulla. But there are two of them, and they sit on top of the kidneys. And one of the functions is to make adrenaline, which maybe you know as epinephrine. It's the fight or flight hormone, so it's the one that says, I gotta run or fight or whatever. So that's adrenaline. Here's the pancreas, and it secretes various stuff. Some are exocrine functions, which means it secretes stuff like digestive enzymes into the small intestine. But its endocrine function, what we're doing now, means it secretes stuff into blood. And so one of the things that it secretes into blood is insulin. So that's a hormone that controls your blood sugar. If you're a female, you have ovaries, and those will secrete estrogen and progesterone. And if you're a male, you have testes, and those will secrete androgens like testosterone. And so those are your various hormones, or various endocrine glands. And so there's a few basic things to know about it, about the endocrine system. Endocrine glands are glands that secrete hormones, and the key here is that these are things released into blood. So we've talked about hormones through the year, like insulin. We spent a lot of time on that, and we've talked a little bit about estrogen and testosterone. But there are various chemicals that are secreted into the blood. They go around the entire body, and then they just affect certain cells. So a hormone is a chemical secreted by cells into blood, and they have lag times ranging from seconds to hours. So they're different from neurons. Neurons will affect their muscle or the gland or whatever right away, and then they're done. Hormones are a little bit different in that they can affect you for a much longer period of time. So, for example, when you secrete insulin, it affects you for several hours. They tend to have long-lasting or prolonged effects. So, for example, if I injected myself with testosterone, I would end up looking different forever. I'm not sure how much the point of no return dosage is, but once I start growing a big bushy beard, then I'll always have those hair follicles. Target cells, cells that are affected by certain hormones. So these are cells that have specific receptors, protein receptors for that particular hormone. So I'm going to show you an example of that. So target cells are exactly what they sound like, I think. So if you're playing darts, the target is the thing you hit. If you're an endocrine gland, you're secreting a hormone into the body, and that hormone is supposed to affect certain target cells. So let's see. Only certain cells with specific receptors can be affected by the hormone. So let's take a look at that. So here's an example. Here's a secreting cell, and let's say maybe this is the pancreas, and these dots are the insulin that they're releasing. And the insulin comes out, and these are the target cells. So maybe This one is a muscle cell, and the muscle cell needs the insulin in order to take sugar in. So once these have connected, then the sugar comes in. And maybe this is a liver cell, and once the insulin is there, the sugar will come into this cell, and you'll make glycogen from it. There's another cell here, though. Let's say this is, I don't know, what's not affected by insulin? I don't know, maybe let's say it's your skin. Well, then there'd be no receptors for insulin on here. There'd be receptors for other stuff, but not for insulin. Oh, so here's an example of that. Here is a cell in the body that's not a target cell. And the reason it's not a target cell is it does not have these receptors. So the insulin can come over and touch the different parts of the cell, but it doesn't attach to any receptors. So this one is not affected. It's not affected at all by the insulin. Whereas this one is a target cell, and it's a target cell because it has this receptor. That receptor fits perfectly with the hormone, and the hormone affects it, tells it what to do. This mechanism represents one more type of cell-to-cell communication that helps to maintain homeostasis in humans and in all vertebrates, actually. Whoops. End of slideshow. That's it. See, I said it would be short and sweet. Have a happy day.